The Wells Report returns in 30 seconds. North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. Good morning, I'm John David Wells, and yes, we're on one more time at 9 a.m. Yeah, we keep moving the show around, but that doesn't change anything. We still report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion, yours and mine. Let's share. Let's compare. Let's debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Thanks very much for being with us today. As this proves to be, or will prove to be, a monumental day in the history of the United States. How monumental? Well, that remains to be seen. The historians will weigh in on that. But it certainly is significant to a great degree because there will be a presidential debate between a former president of the United States and a vice president of the United States that has been called the most leftist presidential candidate in the nation's history. How will that unfold? Well, there is huge pressure on Kamala Harris. Huge, huge pressure. USA Today asks, which prosecutor is going to show up? Democrats wanted Vice President Kamala Harris to top their ticket partly because they thought that she would eviscerate former President Donald Trump on the debate stage. Now the pressure is on for her to deliver, as USA Today speaks. Harris has the most to lose as she prepares to prosecute the case against Donald Trump in her first and maybe only debate that happens tonight in Philadelphia. Her favorability rating has eclipsed Trump's in 7 weeks since President Joe Biden dropped out of the race after a career-ending performance in his face-off against Trump. She pulled slightly ahead of her Republican opponent in most national polls. Harris is entering the evening with a burden of high expectations because of her strong performance in previous debates and her background as a former prosecutor. Her background in previous debates, her strong performance in previous debates. Tulsi Gabbard nailed her to the wall in her only other presidential foray. This was in the presidential primary season, and she ended her campaign. I don't know that she's had a strong debate performance. She's had a gimmicky debate performance against Mike Pence, who still won on the merits when she said, "I'm speaking. I am speaking. Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking." Okay, that's a nice move, and sometimes that's all it takes. Lloyd Benson famously, "I knew Jack Kennedy. Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy." That was huge, but it was a gimmick. And so I don't know what USA Today is talking about previous debates and her strong debate performances. I think that might be more wishful thinking, just an opinion. That's up to you to decide whether it's valid. When she served as a U.S. Senator, Harris went after the Trump administration with vigor, often flustering or humiliating them during congressional hearings by assailing them with rapid-fire questions, one after another. Democrats are hoping she'll take an aggressive approach against Trump. Don't know how that's going to happen. The mics are going to be muted when she is not talking. President Biden and Vice President Harris, while sharing similar policies, have different speaking styles. I have no doubt Vice President Harris is going to have a very different debate with Donald Trump than Joe Biden did, said Haley Swaffer, who is Harris's national security advisor in the Senate. Easy statement to make. It will obviously be a different debate. That's an easy statement. It's very political. It says something without saying something. Well, this will be a lot different. Yeah. Okay. So you think you get the inference, but there still is no meaning there. There are people behind Kamala Harris that are looking at this debate with consternation. What is going to happen when she is off script? A piece of paper, a pen, a podium, and 90 minutes in the same room with Donald Trump. Now, likewise, Donald Trump has a lot on the line, too. Donald Trump has been very, very good throughout this campaign season. I suspect he will be rested. I expected that he will be ready. And I also suspect that if he sticks to the subject at hand, if he sticks to the issues, he'll have a good night. I don't know what Kamala Harris is going to do here. And this is not a partisan statement. I just don't know. Neither does anybody else. She hasn't gone through a primary process. Her statements have not been tested in the crucible of the public domain. She hasn't talked to reporters. She hasn't debated with other candidates. She's essentially been handed this nomination by the Democrat Party, the anointed one. And she has not gone through the fire that is required to become a national standard bearer. Now, that doesn't diminish the fact that she is the Democrat Party national standard bearer. That doesn't diminish this at all. You may agree with the process that they chose to put Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket. You may disagree. But that's what they did. And they stand behind her, apparently. And so that being said, here you go. It is the most progressive ticket in the history of presidential politics in this nation. And I said something a while back that I want you to remember. I said the Democrat Party has a huge problem with progressives amongst them. They are not Democrats. They are socialists. They are socialists, Marxists. They are people that we fought a 50-some Cold War against, that are trying to change this country into a political playground for themselves. And it always meets with disaster. It always does. It'll never change throughout the history of human event. When you are the sole governing source, eventually, you will make so many mistakes. There will be so much hypocrisy enforced by lawfare or just plain authoritarian thuggery that the whole thing will implode, especially if it's against human nature, and socialism is. But the Democrat Party has this socialist tumor amidst it, and they have to get rid of it. So how do they get rid of it? Well, they put a couple of progressives up there and say, okay, here you go. Good luck. And we'll support you 100% until they lose, if they lose. And then they'll say, well, you know what? Progressivism doesn't work. You guys can leave and join the American Socialist Party, which is what they should have the guts to do anyway. But the Democrat Party is a different kettle of fish. They're about winning at any cost, regardless of how silly they look from a standpoint of hypocrisy. They will change their positions. They will flirt with socialism. They will do anything necessary to win the next election. And they are sustained by a sycophantic press that does not care about truth, has abandoned it, and chosen political sides. And that makes Democrats lazy too. Because they realize that at some point, their buddies in the press will save them. That's not what you do. It's not what you do. You cover the story. You don't cover for someone that's the object of a story. And this is where the Democrats find themselves. Now they have a real mess on their hands. And Kamala Harris has been given the very difficult chance. One might say she's been set up to fail tonight in Philadelphia across from Donald Trump. I have said time and again, actually giving advice to the Kamala Harris campaign. Have her talk about what she believes. The big mistake in that one interview with Dana Bash from CNN, that one interview, my values haven't changed. My policies have. Okay. All right. So you're going to govern against your own values. What is that? It proves exactly what I just said. Democrats will do anything to win an election. They'll back themselves into a corner. They'll depend on the mainstream media to get them out of that corner without looking like flaming idiots. And the next time somebody comes up and says, you guys look like flaming idiots. No, we don't. We were exactly right on all of our policies. And the thing about that is that people go, uh-huh. Some people believe it. Some people say, yep. They believe the propaganda. They believe the fairy tale, in absence of actually thinking about what these people are saying and doing. And that's not just Democrats. It's Republicans too. Our politics are mainly dishonest. And you know that's true because everybody says, well, they're politicians, they always lie. Really? Why is that? Why do they lie to us? Why do we accept it? Why do we condone it? Why do we defend it? Go to X. Look at all these statements being made by candidates about lying. Well, that's a lie. No, it's a difference of opinion. No, that's absolutely true. No, I'm sorry, that's a lie. And it requires perspective that I believe most Americans possess. It requires perspective. And how can you have reasoned perspective if your main information sources are unreasonable? These are the questions that need to be asked. Will they be asked tonight? I don't know. I do not know. But CNN's Jake Tapper says that tonight is the biggest moment in Vice President Harris's political career. And he is completely correct. He is. But I think, and this gets back to this sociopathic need of the Democrat Party to win, I believe she's been set up to fail. And I believe she's been set up to fail to at least badly damage the progressive movement within the Democrat Party. Because if indeed the Democrat Party goes full socialist, if they go full socialist, they're done. The United States will not put up with politicians telling the citizenry what to do at every turn. And that is required in socialism. Because the primary tenet of socialism is equality. Everybody must be equal. Everybody gets the same shot. Everybody gets the same opportunities. And everybody has the same outcomes. And that's where things go dangerously awry. And because one person will say something against a socialist government, then other people, then other people, then other people, you have to savagely pacify those people that stand up and say, hey, wait a minute, this is wrong. Alexei Navalny. He is one of the guys that is, or was, against Vladimir Putin. And make no mistake, Russia is still a socialist country. He stood up, savagely repressed, thrown into prison, and finally killed. You don't think that can happen here? You don't think so? Keep watching this broadcast, because the seeds have been planted. They have begun to sprout. If they take root. This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 817-379-2172. Big debate night. Who's going to win? What do you want Kamala Harris to say? What do you want Donald Trump to say? Answer those questions. 817-379-2172. The Wells Report for Tuesday. This is the 10th of September, year of our Lord 2024.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. Greetings. Let's see on the chat room. What's going on in the chat room? What's happening? Everybody says good morning. Morning, Yvonne. You have been such a great stalwart of this broadcast. Thank you so much for your support over the years. It means so much to me. I don't get to say it often enough, and so I thought I would do so today. Yvonne, you are absolutely the best. Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris are neck and neck ahead of their first and potentially only debate in Philadelphia that's happening tonight. This according to a new survey of voters that have some pollsters seeing a warning sign for Democrats that has pollsters. Okay. Anyway, my grammar or my papper. Harris leads Trump 49 to 48% among registered voters. That's well within the margin of error, showing a race that has tightened since August when Harris held a 3-point lead against Trump. This according to an NPR PBS News Marist national poll released yesterday morning. Among those who say they definitely plan to vote, the survey found that Harris edges Trump by 3 points, 51 to 48. Trump, however, leads Harris among independent voters, 49 to 46, 3 points. A 14-point shift from August when Harris commanded an 11-point lead in a field that had multiple candidates, such as Robert F. Kennedy Jr., according to the poll. Republican pollster Whit Ayers tells PBS News that the swing in independent support is a warning sign for Harris's campaign. Quote, she's had the honeymoon period, Ayers said of the initial excitement that Harris generated among Democrats after President Biden exited the race. The latest results of the New York Times Siena poll released on Sunday also found the two candidates locked in a dead heat. In that poll, Trump seemingly shrugged off a burst of enthusiasm for Democrats after Harris entered the race, garnering support of 48% of likely voters, compared to 47% who indicated support for Vice President Harris. The NPR PBS News Marist poll showed that Trump was up with Latinos, 51% versus 47% with Harris, a 9-point swing since August. On the issues, the survey found a majority of Americans consider Trump better equipped to handle immigration, 53 to 46, the economy, 52 to 48, the Middle East, 51 to 47. However, Harris is perceived as the candidate better to handle the abortion issue, 56 to 42. Well, so when you start talking about polling, it's a snapshot in time, and this one is already late. However, it's what we have to work with. Republican strategist Kevin Madden told PBS that Harris's initial surge of support and enthusiasm was, quote, an enormous sugar high, unquote, because she was a new candidate not named Trump or Biden. Now, Madden says recent polling shows that burst of excitement is subsiding. The race has snapped back to where it always was, which is very, very close amongst a bitterly divided electorate. And this election is going to be very, very close. It's going to come down to a few 100,000 voters in a handful of states. That sounds like a warning for both people. And it should be. It should be like this. It should be a tough slog. Elections should be contentious. That's the basis of our constitutional republic. Adversarial interaction of different groups of people to a greater good. But that only works when you got one group over here and one group over here, and the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and Declaration of Independence are up here. And both are going this direction, but arguing how to get there. And what we see is these two groups getting together and holding hands and saying, hey, you know what? And that happens all the time. And not only is it disappointing, it's destructive. Absolutely destructive. You are watching the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number is 817-379-2172. Let's see, Gary has joined us and refers to President Biden as President Sock Puppet, but I think it's going to be changed if indeed Kamala Harris wins. She will be a presidential sock puppet. See what I did there? Yeah. He also believes that Kamala Harris is a communist. Well, that would figure. She was raised in an academic household where her father was a Marxist economics professor. Okay. Well, that's the root of all evil when it comes to governance of people that turns into a mess. And that's what happens with socialism. Politicians can't handle it, and they don't think that's true. This is the Wells Report.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare.
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare.
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Good morning. I'm John David Wells. Today's Tuesday, September 10th, year of our Lord 2024. Listen to this. Vice President Kamala Harris, their 2024 campaign, hired a new climate director who has frequently said that the effects of climate change are part of what's stopping her from having children. Camilla Thorndike, who previously worked in the Senate managing climate portfolios of various senators, including Bernie Sanders, was given the title of Climate Engagement Director for the Harris for President campaign in September of 2024, according to her LinkedIn page this month. Prior to joining the campaign, Thorndike said on several occasions she considers climate change a factor when deciding whether to have kids. Quote, "I was 15 when I first saw the climate hockey stick graph. I realized this skyrocketing arrow of temperature would take place in my lifetime. All the big milestones of life that I was looking forward to would be in the context of this big global crisis. It led to the question of whether or not to have kids, which is still a big question for me, where I would put down roots, what my family would do, Thorndike said in 2018 when she was the DC campaign director for Chesapeake Climate Action Network. Again, in November of 2019, Thorndike described it as an ethical question that keeps me up at night. Quote, I've always been someone who enjoys children, loves the idea of a family. That's why I've wrestled with this, because my logical mind and the facts of the future I can see bearing down on us are not supportive of the life I would want for them, unquote. During an appearance on the My Climate Journey podcast in August of 2022, a show hosted by Jason Jacobs and Cody Sims for people seeking to better understand climate change, Thorndike again made a connection between the decision to have children and what it might look like in the future amid climate change. Quote, I plotted my own lifetime against that and realized around the time that I would especially be considering having kids or whatever in or around my 30s, we would start to see the escalation of this crisis. And so that was when I realized at the time the grown-ups were not coming to save us, and my generation would have to fight to take the wheel. Why is that important? Here is another mover and shaker in American politics who is female, who is not going to have children based on climate change. Why does that matter? Well, in this particular campaign, Senator J.D. Vance has pointed out that childless cat ladies have a huge part in American politics. Now, there are a few points here that I want to touch on from an opinion standpoint. But first, let's flesh out this story just a little bit. So when we start talking about J.D. Vance and a guy who is standing up for conservative values from a family standpoint, and his childless cat lady comment, which is weeks old at this point, there are people that are saying, well, my goodness gracious, you're losing female votes. And indeed, on Face the Nation, Nikki Haley was asked about this and whether or not it was something that was going to help or hurt J.D. Vance's prospects for being the vice president in the Trump-Vance ticket. Here is what she had to say.
How did they close that? Because just as recently as last week, J.D. Vance said he's disoriented and disturbed that the head of the most powerful teachers union in the country doesn't have a single child. He continues to say things that certainly are highlighted as being offensive to women. That is going to hurt, won't it, with female voters?
It's not helpful. It's not helpful. I mean,
is he an effective messenger for the policies you say they are stronger on?
I think that the policies, look, you can either look at style or you can look at substance. I choose as a voter to look at substance. The style,
What's the substance of that, though?
The substance is cutting taxes, making housing more affordable, immigration, national security. That's the substance. The style is, no, it is not helpful to talk about whether women have children or whether they don't. It's not helpful to say any of those things that are personality driven or anything else. I have said that, and I will continue to say to Republicans, stop it. That's not helpful. You know, if you want to talk about things, stick with policy. Americans are smart. They don't need all of this other noise to distract them. They just want to know how you're going to help them.
Yeah, that's actually a reasoned statement. However, it comes in what is an interesting context for a whole bunch of reasons. Let's start at the beginning. Camilla Thorndike. She's in her 30s, and she's afraid to have children because of climate change. That's the sky is falling. The sky is falling. It's the Chicken Little agenda. The sky is falling. Our atmosphere is going to kill us. The hockey stick, climate change, all this stuff. And this has dissuaded another female here in the United States from having children. That's thing number one. Thing number two, J.D. Vance talking about childless cat ladies. That was a way to point out that in America's search for respecting individual rights, what we have done is we have given a lot of power to people who are outside the nuclear family norm. They're outside of it. And they have huge positions of power in the United States when most of Americans are within the nuclear family paradigm. It's true. It's true. And it doesn't make any difference which of these fragments of society that you're talking about that are lionized as protected fragments or factions of American life. These people are outside the norm. And they impose themselves on the norm. This woman is an influencer. Camilla Thorndike is an influencer. She's talking to other women in her 30s. Hey, I'm not going to have kids because I'm afraid the climate's going to kill us all. It's not. Is that a hoax? Well, it depends on your point of view. But you know, there are an awful lot of people on this planet that live in a lot warmer climates than we do here. And they seem to be getting along just fine. I mean, after all, we're talking about 1.5 degrees Celsius in what is a healthy planet and absolute doom. If that's the case, we're gone already. Because that's way too small. That's way too small an actual success, a success envelope. So we're gone. Well, that's not true either. So climate change is essentially a way to save humanity by paying politicians more money. That's not going to work. Thing number 2, J.D. Vance, in his willingness to say, hey, I want to talk to this nuclear family faction here. I want to say, yeah, you're right. Even though society, based on the fact that there is a far smaller section of people outside the normal nuclear family paradigm, they're pushing us around. But here is this big group of people that don't believe that way, that do want to have children, that do want to have a family, that do want to have a responsible government, etc. However, then you start taking popular opinion and you add that to it. Here in the United States right now, in our efforts to empower an ever fragmented, ever smaller faction of people, when you stand up and say, hey, I think American families are important. I think women should be having kids. Well, that runs afoul of women don't get to be told anything. You don't get to tell women anything as a group. Generalized thinking is always flawed when applied to individuals. I'm not applying this to any individuals. I'm just talking about the group. Women can wear anything they want. They can say anything they want. They can do anything they want. They can have kids if they want. They cannot have kids if they want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, my God. Now J.D. Haley is standing up saying childless cat ladies. But there is sense in it insofar as when you are the president of an entire union, millions of people that educate children and you don't have any, there's a piece of perspective that's missing. And J.D. Vance is right to point that out. But he also runs afoul of trying to tell women what to do and mansplain them. That is, as Nikki Haley said, not helpful. Speaking of Nikki Haley, you have to understand that Nikki Haley is a very careful and brilliant politician. She is an anti-Trump guy. Her campaign against Donald Trump in the primaries was essentially a Democrat campaign, using Democrat talking points at every turn. And what she's doing here is she is essentially saying, hey, wait a minute, you got to stick to the issues. Okay. The issues as she sees them. What about the issues that the nuclear family faction, the vast majority of Americans see? And so she's not necessarily trying to be helpful to Trump's endeavors. She is a never Trumper. And she will have no problem whatsoever if Donald Trump loses this election. And she keeps pointing out how they can lose this election. And by the way, just as a literary aside, Machiavelli a famous series of stories about the intrigue of politics, the ulterior motivation of politicians, etc., is nothing compared to what we see among Democrats and Republicans. Nothing. I've said on this broadcast time and time again, I fired the Republican Party. I'm no longer a Republican. I'm a constitutional conservative because Republicans are ulterior. They fight to enable Democrat policies. That's that uniparty. That's we're establishing a ruling class, a political coin. Two sides, left side, right side, but it's still the same coin. And so we are not being represented fairly or justly in the United States by any of the politicians, at least as a group. Again, generalized thinking is flawed when applied to individuals. They're great people in Washington, D.C., but they are submerged by this unbelievable, hysterical stomping of anybody outside the political norm, which is not a norm of any kind. And so you find yourself in a position where here's a conservative trying to tell you how to live. J.D. Vance trying to tell women how to live. And then, of course, there are people on the left who are saying the government is the answer to everything, and the government will tell you how to live. That doesn't work with most Americans. And that divide is what we deal with in the United States. How do you bridge that divide? Well, you have elections where a majority of people vote for a particular idea or set of ideas or candidates, and that provides an opportunity to come together. And that leads to elections. And are elections honest in this nation right now? Yes or no? You tell me. I'm not going to say one way or another. And all of this has come together in the perfect storm called the 2024 presidential campaign. All of these things are coming together. And the mainstream media, depending on their particular editorial beliefs, which have nothing to do with journalism. Journalism is a study of fact and a reporting of fact. Editorialization is what you think about those facts. Which do you see in the media these days? Do you see more fact or more editorialization? We differentiate. Opinions aren't news. Editorialization, opinions, it's not news. But it is a way to coerce. And yeah, all political campaigns are about trying to coerce voters to support your point of view. True. But that begins to fade when you're in a position where anybody who steps outside the particular political beliefs of the person with the megaphone, who then is shamed and canceled and run out of any kind of reasonable conversation. And that happens all the time. And that's destructive again to this republic. And it is driven by politicians and sustained by the media. I know that's an awful lot to unpack. But what I want you to understand is that we've turned the nation over to ever-shrinking fragments of society, as opposed to the mainstream of America standing up and saying, hey, this is where this country needs to go. And what's insidious about all that, those people outside that particular paradigm will tell all these people, that they're wrong. They're wrong. Women having children is a waste of a good life. Really? Really? Yeah. And so all this comes together. It's a perfect storm. And it's destructive to this nation. And only the people of the United States, not just the rank and file of Americans, but voters, they will be the solution if they choose to be. And we'll all find out in some 60 days. This is the Wells Report.
Vallarta.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to Low Cost Airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. I was just talking about how people outside the American norm, politicians, various fragments of American society, impose their will on a vast majority of people living in America. And I was talking about how these people will absolutely stomp on anybody that disagrees for whatever reason. Nancy Pelosi has done it again. Remember the basket of deplorables Hillary Clinton probably cost her the 2016 election? The basket of deplorables, you know, people that just don't get it. Well, Nancy Pelosi stepped into that mess again during the Texas Tribune Festival. This happened over the weekend. And here is what she had to say regarding Republicans and what they believe and what they don't believe here on the Wells Report.
There are people who will never be, shall we say, inclined to support Democrats because of they just have a different orientation toward women, people of color, LGBTQ. You know, they just are not ever going to be there. So say that's about like 30% or something like that. And then of the Republicans. And then you have very, very rich people who do not really want to pay taxes or have any regulation of clean air, clean water, any of that. So you have to deal with that. Now, it's not as many very, very rich people, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. And money makes the world go around. And Nancy Pelosi kind of saying the quiet part out loud. There's 30% that just don't get it. You just don't get it. Now, there's also a little side thing here. This is being reported by Fox News, which is biased. And what she said, and what Fox News said is Pelosi suggests 30% of Republicans are racist, sexist, homophobic. That is an assertion based on her statement. Her statement, there are people who will never be, shall we say, inclined to support Democrats because they just have a different orientation toward women, people of color, LGBTQ. You know, they're not just ever going to be there. Oh, really? Well, okay. And once again, we have these groups of people that really shouldn't be in power in the United States because they are outside the norm. And that's politicians. Politicians are outside the norm. And they put themselves in that position because they want to govern. Well, you lose perspective. A lot. Now, Nancy Pelosi also, and this is going to come back in just a couple of seconds, Nancy Pelosi was also on The View the other day. And what she was talking about is the process that gave us Kamala Harris as the Democrat standard bearer and how it was an open process.
Initially, though, you wanted an open process. You don't you didn't endorse Kamala. You wanted an open process, despite knowing her very well from San Francisco. Do you think now, when you look back on it, that it was a mistake?
It wasn't open progress. No, it wasn't open. Anybody could have gotten in. Mm-hmm. She got in and she won, and a president of the United States had endorsed her, who was very respected, so that meant a lot. But people don't understand. Other people could have gotten in. She just locked it up. Politically astute.
Yeah. Yeah, she just was the best. So we didn't really have to go through that messy process of a primary or voting or debates or anything. Well, this is what I was talking about a minute ago when I said the media will indeed sustain the herd mentality of whichever political power happens to be running the show. And since most of the people in the mainstream media are Democrats by a large margin, then you see an awful lot of Democrat sustainment of these kinds of statements. Yeah, anybody could have gotten into the flash primary thing if they wanted to end their career in the Democrat Party in a big dang hurry. And that's just left out. And of course, The View is not really a journalistic effort. It's basically a chat show. But what we see is we see something being submerged. Sure, you could run against Kamala Harris if you wanted to. Go right ahead. Yeah, well, that wasn't going to happen. That wasn't going to happen because the main candidates that would run against Kamala Harris would not run against Kamala Harris because they're looking at 2028. And they weren't going to jump in. And they weren't going to jump in with what they believe is a losing campaign year for the Democrat Party. But the fairy tale, the fable sustained by the press continues. And so you see how all this comes together. Or at least I think you see it. People who disagree are stomped. 30% of Republicans are just, eh. Then you see political bias in Fox News by saying, well, they're homophobic and they're misogynistic and they're sexist and they're, okay, well, that's not what Nancy Pelosi said. But that's what was reported. There is bias everywhere. Now you might see Nancy Pelosi as some kind of an arch villain. But many people don't. And this division is what is damaging our political process with the handmaiden of a press that is biased one way or another. It's about fact. I like to think that even when I opine, my opinions are based on facts, not based on politics. At least I hope you see that. And chances are you do because you're here. This is the Wells Report. This is Tuesday, and we will be back with more of this broadcast coming up in just a couple of seconds as we talk a little bit more about politicians and how they stomp on people's rights if those people disagree with them. It continues as we continue here on the Wells Report.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
Call 877-655-6870. That's 877-655-6870. 877-655-6870.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We depropagandize the mainstream media. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion. Yours, mine. Let's share. Let's compare. Let's debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. I'm John David Wells. By the way, we were talking last hour about a woman who was just hired to the Kamala Harris campaign as their climate director, who said she's not going to have kids. And Evie points out that, hey, wait a minute, I used to know somebody that I worked with who chose not to have kids insofar as she decided that political unrest, political strife was the perception of the times. And yeah, if you start thinking about having children, you won't have children. Because, first of all, you really can't, as a concerned, conscientious human being, you can't look at what's going on in the world and say, do I bring a kid into this? Or you look at your finances and your prospects for the future. Can I bring a kid into this? It's a leap of faith. You have to have faith that indeed human beings will find answers to all these problems. And that, by the way, of having children, the act of having children, to take that leap of faith, all but guarantees the human condition will improve to a level that makes their lives not just possible, but prosperous. You have kids in the mix, and those kids deserve at least as good a life as you've had, or a better one, and you fight for it. Well, that puts you back into, okay, who do we get to lead us in that endeavor? And that means you elect people that are of like mind, as opposed to professional politicians that will say anything to win an election. And we keep doing that. We keep making that mistake. We don't elect the right people. And it's demonstrable. We can just look at things as they are and say, these people are not connected to real life. We need to elect people who are connected to real life. Elect thy neighbor. But once again, having kids is a leap of faith. If you have that faith, you'll have kids. If you don't have that faith, you'll make another choice. But I'll never forget when I was thinking about, gosh, I don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to have children. My mother looked me right in the face and said, John David, having children will be the making of you. And she was right. Has it been easy? No. In a lot of ways, it's been a train crash, not just for me, but for my kids. But I have faith that it will all turn out well. Now, that product may not necessarily be something that I completely agree with. I may not look at my lives, the kids of my kids' lives, and say they're going to have a better experience than I had. But I will fight for it. And hopefully they will too, because that's what it takes. That's what it takes to move the human endeavor forward. Okay. So we've been talking a little bit about how these small groups of people are making their political ambitions the law of the land. And it happens at all levels. It does. All politics is local. That's a famous political statement, and it's true. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Residents in Ohio, Springfield, Ohio, to be exact, are fuming about a cultural clash between themselves and Haitian migrants at city council meetings. They are demanding that the city take action on the issue. Thousands of Haitians arrived in Springfield, Ohio since the COVID-19 pandemic. Residents have been pointing out an uptick in crime, mayhem, car crashes because of the massive influx of new residents. In a town of 58,000 people, 20,000 Haitians have arrived, according to city officials. So Anthony Harris is an influencer. He's a guy that does what I do. And he stepped up in a city council meeting and had his way with his point of view on this issue and spoke very well. I will tell you, by the way, the audio on this video is the actual things that you're going to hear and not real good, but please bear with it as he says some very important things about his town.
I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into, they flipping cars in the middle of the street. It's getting bro, I'm getting thousands of views on these. And it's going to get bigger and it's only going to get worse. And y'all sitting up there in these chairs, all y'all need to get out here and do something. Y'all making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Y'all need to put on a t-shirt and some Crocs. And then y'all need to come out here in these streets and y'all need to go out here and, I'm out here before the police is. Like, y'all need to do something, bro. Y'all really got to stand on business. Y'all getting paid all this money just to wear a suit and sit in a chair. I think it's crazy, bro. We got to do something, bro. It's kids out here getting hurt. Like, only reason I even went on here and said something about it is because somebody told me they walking from the school and a Haitian almost ran into them.
And yeah, there's a clash of culture. 20,000 Haitians living in Springfield, Ohio. And the people in Springfield, Ohio are essentially under the thrall of the city council that allows it to happen. Now, all that being said, resident Lisa Hayes recounted an incident where migrants were bullying her at a supermarket. They blocked her cart, refused to let her pass through the aisle. I don't know what kind of label you put on this, she said, perplexed by the incident. I would like to see them have some common respect. Well, I'm not trying to sound imperious here, but I will say that Haitians live in a country where respect is not really a big issue. It's not a big priority because their government tells them how to live. And when they have a chance to leave, they do. And where do they come? Here. They come here. Residents mention how migrants crowd public areas. They hit people with cars. Some said the city needs to start giving driving lessons. Resident Diana Daniels blamed cultural clashes for the issues. Countries are defined by their culture and their language, not color. When folks stand up here and describe what is happening to them, they're often painted with a broad brush of racism that has nothing to do with it. And once again, this is a political lever being used by politicians, even at the local level. If you step outside their particular political bubble, well, then you're a racist. Okay, I really don't think it matters who crashes a car into a dumpster. I don't think it matters what color skin they have, or their national origin, or their gender, or their sexual proclivities, or any of the other things that are protected classes in this nation. It has to do with taking a car and hitting a dumpster with it. And this is what these citizens of Springfield, Ohio, are saying. At another hearing, a woman named Noelle said she doesn't feel safe in Springfield anymore and migrants are camping out near her home. I try my best to help them, to keep them from trying to squat on my property, but it is so unsafe. I've learned they cannot speak English in my front yard. They're screaming at me, throwing mattresses in my front yard, throwing trash in my front yard. Look at me. I weigh 95 pounds. I couldn't defend myself if I had to pack up and move. It's killing both of us mentally. I don't understand what you expect of us as citizens. Who's protecting me? I want out of this town. I'm sorry. Please give me a reason to stay. A man in a blue Harley-Davidson t-shirt said, how do you know we aren't getting criminals and rapists? He said that about a migrant after a bus crash that killed the son of two of his teachers. Another resident called out general failures in leadership. When am I getting my money back? Yeah. So the political bubble is enabling a life, the citizenry, and still in a town of 58,000 with 20,000 Haitians, that leaves 38,000 people who are not Haitians. That is a majority. And once again, all I can say is, who are they voting for? Well, they're not voting for the right people. Well, here in the United States, we have access to our politicians, theoretically. That is also not something that you can take for granted, especially when politicians have their own ideas about what life should be like. This is a citizen stepping up in front of her city council and trying to get her point across, which was not handled well.
Do you want to be escorted out
You're
of here?
violating my First Amendment rights.
Talking.
You are violating my First Amendment rights.
That's your opinion.
It's not a matter of opinion.
Do you want to be escorted out, Ms. Massey? Because that's what's going to happen. And it's going to happen in the future also. Anytime you attack
That's
any
why you changed the
staff member
rules.
Or any
That's why you
city-
changed the rules.
This has been on the back of this form.
I understand,
all the
Mayor
time.
Hall, but that is completely unconstitutional.
No, it's
You're
not.
also engaging in debate, and so you should actually be
Anyway,
yielding the floor to somebody else
okay.
managing.
Chief, could you have somebody come down here and escort Ms. Massey out of
Really, is
this
that
chamber?
necessary?
Yes, I
In
think
front
it
of my
is.
10-year-old daughter, you're going to escort me
That's
out
fine.
for expressing my
She
First
can go
Amendment
with you.
rights.
She can go with you.
I'm not leaving.
Well,
I'm expressing my first. Do not touch me. Do not put your hands on me. Do not put your hands on me.
Come on out.
Do not put your hands on me.
Come out with me now before you get arrested. You understand?
Are you detaining me?
Yes.
Why am I being detained? Under what charges? Under what charges?
okay, so I'll,
Hey, I have personal property.
Hold on.
You cannot touch me.
yeah, I know. She can go out there. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go into E-session.
E-session is executive session. And you wouldn't think that this would happen, but it does, and it did. This was Surprise, Arizona, at a city council meeting. She was handcuffed in front of her 10-year-old daughter. She's suing the city of Surprise and its mayor for violating her First Amendment rights. Rebecca Massey is an active participant in government meetings, has previously spoken out about zoning changes. On August 20th, she had complaints about the city attorney's salary. Surprise Mayor Skip Hall cut her off minutes into her time at the podium, accusing her of, quote, attacking the city attorney personally, unquote, and told her that specifically criticizing any municipal employee or a member of the council, regardless of whether it was by name, violated its policy, referring her to a note that to that effect on the back of the council agenda. That is unconstitutional. And she is fighting back. And she's suing the city council and the mayor. And she should. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. But did you see that? Here's a woman who is talking about the salary of the city attorney, deemed by the mayor to be a personal attack. It's not a personal attack. People who work for the people of a city, a county, a state, or a nation are, by virtue of democracy, they are under the harsh light of someone's opinion, a voter. Did you ever think you'd see something like that? This is the Wells Report.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. The American Constitution doesn't exactly spell out who voters are or who voters are not. They used to be white men over 21 years of age who owned property. That changed with all kinds of amendments. You know, following the Civil War, the 14th Amendment extended citizenship to natural-born or naturalized Americans regardless of race. The 15th Amendment prohibited restricting the rights to vote due to race. The 17th Amendment required states to elect senators by popular vote. The 19th Amendment extended voting rights to all women. The 26th Amendment extended the right to vote for everybody that are 18 years of age or older. And additionally, the 24th Amendment explicitly banned poll taxes, which often prevented low-income citizens of all races from voting. But one thing that I believe we can all agree on, well, not all of us, that American citizens should be the only ones that are voting in our elections. And Arizona law specifies that to be the case. It requires residents to show proof of citizenship in order to be able to vote in elections before the courts get involved. Well, it happened again. The Supreme Court allowed parts of the law, the Arizona law requiring residents to show proof of citizenship before voting, to be enforced. Arizona's law will now be before a Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals panel. That happens today for oral arguments over the law, which was initially blocked by a lower court earlier this year. Why would that be the case? Why would they block that law? The Supreme Court allowed enforcement of restrictions that block people from voting in state and local elections, but those who have registered without proof can still vote in presidential and congressional elections with a different federal form. Those votes will be counted. Are those votes being cast by American citizens? If not, why not? And so when you start looking at all of this, by the way, that form requires them to swear they are citizens under penalty of perjury. Somebody just got arrested and was sentenced and so on because they were not a citizen and they voted. Justice Clarence Thomas, Justice Samuel Alito, Justice Neil Gorsuch would have granted the application in full. Yes, you have to be a citizen to vote. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, Justice Elena Kagan, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, and Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson would have denied the application in full. Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh provided a compromise of sorts with their deciding votes. The now stalled 2022 law requiring proof of citizenship was challenged by a civil rights group or several right groups and the Arizona Democrat Party. Really? The Arizona Democrat Party. They want people other than citizens to vote? Why? Why? Why would anybody vote in the United States of America that was not a citizen, naturalized or otherwise? Why? It doesn't seem to me they have standing to vote, which is fascinating insofar as after the 2020 election and everybody was worried about whether or not this was a free and fair election, people who actually objective were found to not have standing by the courts. And so we have these bubbles again. This is a bubble of judges that are looking not just at the law themselves to interpret it, but also the philosophical understanding of those laws, which puts it into a subjective phase, which is why legal opinions are just that, opinions. And so now another election is coming up, and at least in Arizona, because the law is suspended, there will be people who are not American citizens voting. I have always been distressed that our government seems to set aside American citizens for the sake of their political celebrity group of people du jour. But here's another problem. What if American citizens don't stand up for their citizenship? Because if they do, they'll be called racists or any number of other things. Sometimes, in order to be American, you have to have fortitude. You got to have guts. And sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. If you're not a racist, you're not. Make them prove it. But meanwhile, stand up for your citizenship.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. By the way, if you just called me on the telephone at 817-379-2172 during that last segment, call me right back. Please. I want to hear what you have to say. Miami Dolphins star Tyreek Hill was arrested the other day for not complying with police officer demands after a traffic stop. Here is what it looked like as all this came down. The police officers saw him go by in his Ferrari and stopped him because he was speeding. He was speeding, not by much, but he was speeding. And he also wasn't wearing a seatbelt. But he got mouthy with the cops, and very bad things ensued shortly thereafter. Take a look.
You're speeding. Move forward.
Nice car. This is body cam video. And he didn't turn off the engine. That's bad.
Hey, don't knock on my window like that, man. Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Don't knock on my window. Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Don't knock on my window like that, though. Like what? Don't knock on my window like that. Why you have it up? Don't knock on my window like that. Why you have it up? I have to knock to let you know I'm here. That way you can lower it and talk to you. Just get my ticket, bro, so I can go. I'm gonna be late, gang. Do what you gotta do. Keep it down. Hey, keep your window down.
Tinted windows, can't see through them. You got to keep in mind.
Keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. 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 Damn. What part of brother doing this? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting up, bro. God damn, twin. When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand? You understand? Not what you want, but when we tell you.
Yeah. So when a police officer stops you, he's in control of the situation. You are not. You should comply. And getting mouthy with a police officer will get you arrested. That being said, that is Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is a bona fide NFL star. And he lives in Miami, plays for the Miami Dolphins. That being said, should there be, should there be preferential treatment given to NFL stars? The answer is no. The answer is no. So after all this happened, Tyreek Hill posted a forward message on social media. Let's make a change. He then appeared on CNN and elaborated on what he meant with those words. Here's what he said. I'm not a big believer in diving people. I don't believe in all that. I believe in bringing people together because that's my purpose in life. I do football camps across the world trying to bring different people together because we're in this together, baby. We're on the earth together. We got to live together. So when I say, let's make a change, let's do it together. So Miami PD, really all officers across the world, one officer does not make the whole group look bad. Everybody has bad apples. Every team has bad apples. It's my job to use my platform and resources so that way I'm able to align with these different stations. We've tried it all. We've done protest. We took a knee. We've done walks. So what's next? Me and my wife are brainstorming how we can be a part of this change. It's important to us. We want to be able to change lives all across the world, not just Miami. This is the Wells Report. Our telephone number 817-379-2172. Hi, who's this?
It's Gary from Fort Worth.
I thought that was you. Sorry.
Both what's left of me anyway.
Yeah, well, I thought that was I was right in the middle of something I had to finish, so that's why I didn't take your call. So what's up, my friend? What brings you to the Wells Report today?
Well, actually, I thought you thought it was my number and you're just ignoring me, but that's okay.
Not at all. I can't
Yeah,
see. Okay, just so you know, I cannot see the number that you're calling from on my terribly elaborate telephone system because it's over here.
Like story.
Yeah, and I answer all phone calls. I do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No, I just like playing with you. Anyway, Yeah, I totally forgot what I was going to talk about before, but after running that video, right off the bat, if you want me to comment on it,
Well,
right off the bat,
well, hang on a second. Since you're a police officer, you've done that your whole life. Yeah, I'd like you to comment.
okay, fantastic. Well, right off the bat, maybe the officers and this guy driving a car definitely dictated what happened. He dictated that narrative. I mean, right off the bat, probably would have been, okay, pull over up here and say, hey, how you doing today? You know why I'm stopping you. That was always the way we were taught to do it. And you come off, a little bit polite, but we've always done that. Well, the whole thing, I'm not doing this. I mean, he dictated this whole thing. It's very simple. Roll the window down.
Turn the car off.
Just do what they ask you to do. He told you don't have a seatbelt on. Okay. Hey, I don't know if it makes a difference. I'm on the way to the stadium. I play for the Dolphins. Or the Toledo Mud Hens, whatever.
Right.
And I mean, it's that simple. And you know what? Just give me the ticket. Well, guess what? If you rolled the window down, he would have asked for your credentials. Hopefully, you would have gave the officer them, and he would have wrote the ticket and been on the way. And with all that being said, JD, I hated giving tickets out. I always thought it would be better to, hey, listen, you know what? You just went through a park zone. God forbid a kid ran out. Slow it down. Do me a favor. If it wasn't ridiculously fast, I always thought it would be better educate rather than write the summons.
Well, he was somewhere around 10, 15 over the speed limit. He was going faster than the cars around him, and it was a black Ferrari, and the police officers pulled him over.
Oh yeah, of course. But he failed the attitude test right away. Yes, officer. What did I do? That's what we used to call it. We used to call it the personality test, the attitude test. It's very, very simple. But you want to run all over. And you know what? Not to keep circling back to that, that communist that was, 44. He perpetuated all of this stuff. And the whole thing, walking out there, after the inauguration of President Trump, saying resist, resist, resist. What kind of a message are you sending?
Well, of course.
I mean, that's ridiculous. And now all you're doing is getting people in trouble. You're an agitating troublemaker. And and these incidents have escalated. Not only that, ambushes on police officers. That will come when somebody from the top says it's okay to do this.
Yeah,
it's sickening.
Well, and the thing about it is that those were tinted windows, and you can't see through those tinted windows, and you don't know what's happening. And police officers are being shot under those exact circumstances all across the country, and police officers are indeed going to be a little bit more vigilant than perhaps they would have been at some other point in the nation's history.
Well, I believe I sent you another article either yesterday or today. We had two more officers get ambushed. One down near Houston, and I think the other one was in Alabama, just sitting at a traffic light. A bunch of mutts rolled up and just unloaded on them.
Yep.
I mean, come on, folks. Use your head a little bit. Hey, officer, can I, oh, what did I do? Oh, yes. And then, just be polite, but they take this instigation. I'm not doing that. This, and then it gets escalated. Then, they're dragging me out of the car.
Right.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing, except I probably would have dumped a can of pepper spray in your face.
Okay. All right. All right, tough guy. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
All right. Baba Booey to you.
Baba Booey. No, we don't Baba Booey here, but that was funny. Thank you, my friend.
See you later.
I'll see you. Bye-bye. So the situation is as follows. Gary, who's a retired police officer, knows exactly. He's a Gold Shield detective, in fact. He knows exactly what he's talking about. If you get pulled over by a police officer, hey, be good, be polite, be cordial, pass the attitude test. That being said, I have a day job. I am a security officer. I work with police all the time. And I have the genuine privilege of working with the Fort Worth Police Department. In their academies, they are taught to be cool and calm. You don't let your personal feelings, what have you, enter into something like this. De-escalation is what that's called, and it's essential in police work. You heard Gary talking about it. And so I am amazed, and I mean, I've seen it, not because I get stopped by police officers in Fort Worth all the time, but I have seen it because I work with them for a lot of times. And I am amazed with the patience, because indeed what Gary brings up is people are rude. They are disrespectful. And the police officers of Fort Worth, at least the ones that I've run across, have taught me how to be cool and calm. And just keep your mind on what you're doing and don't let your personal feelings erupt into a mess just like we saw. Tyreek Hill is not an arch villain. Tyreek Hill was angry about the fact that he got pulled over. He was angry about the fact that the police officer came up and knocked on his window. The reason he knocked on his window is because you've got your windows tinted. He needs that window to be down. And oh, by the way, just a little hint. If you do get stopped by a police officer, pull over, turn on your emergency flashers, unroll your windows, and turn your car off. Put it in park, turn your car off. Keep your hands on the steering wheel until the police officer asks for your driver's license. Then say, okay, in my case, hey, I've got a license to carry. I have no weapons in the car. I'm going for my wallet now, which is in my right front pocket. And he says, go ahead. And thanks for telling me that you're an LTC holder. Thank you. You're certainly welcome, sir. Certainly welcome, sir. That didn't happen with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek may feel like he's entitled a bit. Well, okay. Be entitled all you want to, right up until the cop stops you. And then don't do it. Now, this has naturally, as you might expect, erupted into a mess. Hill said that if he wasn't a celebrity athlete, there would have been a different story playing out, suggesting he may have been shot or hauled off to jail. Well, that's another thing that Gary was talking about. We've been told by our supposed political leaders that cops are bad guys. They are not. Body cam footage released on Monday. The footage captured the intense moments which saw Miami-Dade police officers stopping Hill, taking him out of his vehicle, putting him in handcuffs, and throwing him on the ground. Well, they didn't throw him, they put him on the ground. The Miami Dolphins, have called for punishment for the officers involved in the incident. By the way, he still managed to play on Sunday, scored an 80-yard touchdown. He celebrated the score by poking fun at his detention. Okay. So when you're in this, and this is important because this actually gets back to real life, we all have to calm down. Every bit of it. Every single one of us. We have to calm down. You are not going to, in the vast majority of cases, be stopped by an abusive police officer. You are not going to be in a situation where you have to create a problem unless you want to create a problem. If you want to create a problem, believe me, there will be one. But all of us, we all need to calm down. And that's not just something you can just throw out there as if it's nothing. We're at each other's throats in this nation, and we've got to stop it. All of us. And Tyreek Hill is right in his explanation of what he said, not right in the way he handled the police officers. That was a mistake. And yeah, the Miami Dolphins probably making a mistake, calling for punishment for those officers. Okay, wait a minute. Hang on. Calm down. It's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. Tyreek Hill was detained, not arrested. He was released, played the game, life goes on. 6 weeks from now, this won't be that big a deal. But people will choose to take umbrage based on the fact that our nation's political leadership have created all of these separate silos of protected populations. Instead of doing what you would think you would expect from a political party or political parties that ask for equality and so on. That's not the case. Now, Tyreek Hill, in one of those protected bubbles, found himself running afoul of those police officers at his own volition. But everybody has to simmer down. You got to simmer down. Even though people are telling you at every turn to be outraged, to be angry, don't. Relax. Have a moon pie and an RC Cola. More of the Wells Report in just a moment.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Today's news, analysis, commentary, and debate, but not this moment. We're talking about something that happened yesterday. James Earl Jones passed away. He was the voice of Darth Vader. He was a riveting, award-winning actor. He was given an Oscar. But he was also someone who received 3 Tony Awards, which are the awards given to actors on Broadway. The man was riveting in everything I ever saw him do. Everything. When he received his Oscar, he stood before the Academy and he said this. And it was a beautifully humble recitation of his career and his life and what he did. He even called himself a journeyman actor. Take a look at this. Tell me what you think.
Being a journeyman actor in my own fashion, I still spend more time on boards like these than in front of cameras like those. I sometimes feel like that lone wolf lurking around outside the glow of the cinema campfire, lurching in to snatch a morsel of movie now and then. Now, sometimes those morsels I'm quite proud of, but you cannot be a cinema actor and conduct your career like I've done and not end up in some of the worst movies ever committed to celluloid. But I want to tell you something. What I want to tell you something. I so cherish them that I refuse to name them. You'll just have to Google, my friends, because tonight belongs to Oscar.
And that was James Earl Jones, who passed away yesterday. It is a shame, but it is also in one of his cornerstone roles, an animated movie, by the way, The Lion King. It is The Circle of Life. According to Fox News, award-winning actor James Earl Jones died yesterday. He was 93 years old. Jones was known for his voice role as Darth Vader in the Star Wars franchise, in addition to Coming to America, Field of Dreams, The Hunt for Red October. He was one of the few entertainers to have earned the coveted EGOT, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony, during his career. He received 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, a Grammy Award, and 3 Tony Awards. While Jones did not win a competitive Oscar, he was presented with the Honorary Academy Award by Sir Ben Kingsley. Kevin Costner, who starred alongside Jones in Field of Dreams, remembered the actor in a tribute shared on social media. Just hearing the news of James Earl Jones passing, that booming voice, that quiet strength, the kindness he radiated, so much can be said about his legacy. So I'll just say how thankful I am that part of it includes Field of Dreams. If you'd seen it, you know the movie wouldn't be the same with anybody else in the role. Only he could bring that kind of magic to a movie about baseball in a cornfield in Iowa. I'm grateful to have been a witness to him making that magic happen. Rest in peace, friend. His career began in theater. His stage presence that echoed in all of his work on television and on film. You could not take your eyes off of James Earl Jones. His roles were not just roles. They were embodiments of the character he was playing. He did it better than almost anybody else I've ever seen. He received 4 competitive Tony Award nominations for Best Actor, winning twice for his performances as Jack Johnson in The Great White Hope in 1969, as Troy Maxson in August Wilson's Fences in 1987. In 2017, he received a special Tony at the 71st Tony Awards. His film debut was with Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove. Yeah, he was a weapons officer on a B-52. His arguably most prolific role came in the form of voicing Darth Vader in George Lucas's 1977 space epic Star Wars. He reprised his role for the sequels, The Empire Strikes Back in 1980 and Return of the Jedi in 1983. He starred in a slew of his successful films, including Conan the Barbarian, Coming to America, The Sandlot, Patriot Games, and Clear and Present Danger. He was nominated for an Oscar for Outstanding Lead Oscar for his role in The Great White Hope, was given an honorary Oscar in the 2012 ceremony. In addition, he was a 2-time Emmy winner and 8-time Emmy nominee. He won both of his Emmy Awards in 1991 for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series for his role in Gabriel's Fire, and for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Miniseries or a Special for his role in Heatwave. He was a Kennedy Center honoree in 2002, received Lifetime Achievement Awards from the Screen Actors Guild in 2009, and the National Board of Review in 1995. In one of the movies that was the result of a book by Tom Clancy, he died. His character passed away. Admiral Greer. And the president officiated at that movie funeral. And strangely, the admiral's name that he played was James. And he looked down at the casket and said, "We're going to miss you, James. We are. R.I.P. J.E.J. A life well lived." This has been the Wells Report. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I really appreciate it. Now, tomorrow, we're going to go back to a different time because I have a different time to do my day job. And so I'll be on tomorrow, I believe, between 5 and 7 p.m. Central Time. Set your clocks and watches, and by all means, make sure you turn on your DVD. Okay, it won't matter whether you turn it on or not because you can't record this on DVD, but at least you'll turn on your DVD. Give it something to do, or not. Listen, thanks very much for spending your time with me. God bless you and yours. Take good care. Be safe. Make good decisions. And I will see you tomorrow afternoon.